Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I formally declare open this Submissions Committee meeting of the Colac Otway Shire on the 10th of June 2025. The opening prayer. Almighty God, we seek your blessing and guidance in our deliberations on behalf of the people of the Colac Otway Shire. Enable this Council's decisions to be those that contribute to the true welfare and betterment of our community. Amen. I'd like to start this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional custodians and lawmakers of this land, their elders past and present, and welcome any descendants here today. Please be advised that this meeting is recorded and live streamed with the exception of confidential matters. This includes the public participation sections of meetings. The live stream recordings of this afternoon's meeting will be available on the website as soon as practicable. By participating in open meetings, individuals consent to the use and disclosure of information they share at the meeting, including any personal and/or sensitive information. I note that there's only 5 councillors present here today. I have apologies from Councillor Buchanan and Councillor Dudu, who are unwell. Confirmation of minutes. I propose that we move to confirm the minutes of the Submissions Committee meeting held on the 13th of May 2025. So I have a mover. Councillor Potter. Is it to be seconded? Councillor McCrickard. We'll now call for a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Shrams carried 5-0. Declarations of interest. Are there any? Councillor Hudgell.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest today for item 5.2, 480 Warari Road, Illawarra, as my partner is the owner of this property and will be making a submission today.
Thank you. Any other conflicts of interest? Nope. We'll now move on to the verbal submissions from submitters. Council appreciates the community's submissions on today's agenda item and values the effort put into both written and in-person contributions. Councillors review all submissions thoroughly and find them very useful. Today, people can restate or highlight parts of their submissions. I'll now read the names of the registered speakers. Please raise your hand when your name is called. Jeff Kennedy. Peter Roberts. Arthur Good. I apologise if I get people's names wrong too. Kerry Bishop. Shav Palancian. No. Brendan Agpasa. James Judd. Liz Price. John Mariner's not here. Jane Gross. Fran Fogarty. Lockie Sutherland. Jenny Todorovic. Oh, Jan. Thanks, Jan. Tracy Simmons. Lockie Dullard. Thanks. Jeff Shields. Dean Suckling. Thank you. Please note that this committee will hear submissions today, but no decisions will be made at this meeting. A decision on this matter will be made at a later meeting. We now move on to the submissions, item 5.1, submissions to the draft budget 2025-26 and draft fees and charges 2025-26. I firstly invite, sorry, I'll go back, make sure everyone's here. Yep. First, invite Jeff up to speak. Jeff Kennedy. Thank you. And just, yes, state your name when you get up, where you're from, thanks, and you've got a maximum of 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kennedy from the Forest and District Community Group. I was meant to be here with one of our other members today, but she's sick, so she didn't make it. We've made a submission to the council requesting a neighbourhood character study be carried out for forest on the grounds that by 2027, late 27, 28, we're expecting that there will be a wastewater treatment plant and system installed in forest, which will change a number of things, especially its attractiveness perhaps to developers. And we are of the opinion that the scheme that we've got at the moment doesn't actually protect the town well enough for the potential.
Can I just, sorry, Jeff, just interrupt you. Can I just make sure his microphone on?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry, thanks, sorry.
Yeah, we're concerned that the current planning scheme for forest doesn't actually protect the town well enough. And there is concern within the community that there could be inappropriate development following the installation of a wastewater system. And also, once the system goes in, it, as I said before, it will change the way people view the town. It'll provide opportunities that currently aren't available, and you know, that brings with it some threats as well. How long have I got to talk? 3 minutes left. 3 minutes, okay. I'll jump straight to what we'd like to see come from that. The process of a forest-specific planning scheme will shed light on the real estate landscape of the town. It will articulate the role and relevance of overlays. It'll identify opportunities, limitations, community values and expectations. It'll review the appropriateness and current land use status under the existing planning scheme and how it correlates with future demands. Among a myriad of other tasks, it'll identify, hopefully, appropriate sites for specific development, commercial or industrial. It will be conducted in an inclusive, transparent and consolidative manner, as these things usually are. And what should it deliver? It should provide a coherent framework and direction for the future structure of the town. Reduce the cost of locating families and businesses in forest, because naturally the cost of a wastewater plant is substantial. An individual wastewater plant, that is, a residential one. It should alleviate community concerns around appropriate development and or inappropriate development, and whether a homeowner or a business owner, what buyers want when purchasing property is certainty and the confidence that that they can build a home on the property that they've purchased, and the costs associated with planning and building that home are as predictable as possible. We think that a process of a neighbourhood character study building into a structure plan will or should provide that. And it's the same with businesses, that they can invest with confidence with a planning scheme that allocates appropriate land and opportunity to accommodate their plans, and again the costs of that are at least partially predictable. And it should provide residents with the confidence that their amenity and their way of life is not going to diminish. These processes, I'm told, usually take around about 4 to 5 years, and we're cutting it pretty fine if we even started tomorrow. So we'd love to see the council support that proposition. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for the submission. I'll now invite Peter. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Peter Roberts, I'm President of the U3A Apollo Bay, and we've got Arthur Good over here, who's our Treasurer, and we've got Kerry Bishop, who's our Program Coordinator. Here to speak on behalf of our budget submission for Council and our 160 members. Currently, U3A Apollo Bay is the only organisation providing program for the 40% of Apollo Bay residents who are over the age of 60, because of both the senior citizens and Probus clubs have both folded. We provide programs, provide mental stimulation and social interaction, which is essential to combat social isolation and promote good health and good mental health in our ageing population. These are put together by Kerry. It's very important for our mental health, especially of older males, that they have interaction. There is a problem with older males, especially if they've been lost their partner, or if they've got they've retired and basically their friendship pattern has been, our friendship group has been their work. So basically what happens is in a lot of cases the older males find that they are isolated and they've really lost their sense of purpose. So that's one of our reasons for being. And for myself, I've been welcomed into Apollo Bay about 8 months. 8 months is about the time that I've actually been part of Apollo Bay full time. Previous to that, we've had a house there for about 13 years, and I found that being part of U3A has managed to get to know a lot more people, and it's made life and getting used to a new community from a community which is very close-knit a lot easier. So we've got programs such as old time dancing, and field trips, which are for more physically outlets for older people, and mentally stimulating ones like bridge and wellness through meditation and yoga for the spiritual side and the mentally stimulation. So this morning, we were part of a group who went and we found out at our local coffee barista place, and basically they had a tasting of coffee, which in itself doesn't sound like it's an activity which is mentally stimulating, but yeah, it was very interesting, and these are the type of things that we're trying to provide for people to get them out from home and get to know the community. So, as part of this, we coordinate with other community organisations such as Landcare, Apollo Bay, Beta 12 and Apollo Bay News Sheet. At a recent AGM, our annual membership fee was deliberately set low at $20 with due consideration for our financial capabilities of our members and the possibilities of reducing membership and participation due to financial hardship. As I've said previously, quite a deal of our population are on pensions. So, we didn't change our annual fee and we can't change it until our AGM. The $20, as we found subsequently, we had been invoiced for $1,500 per year from an all-inclusive fee by the Apollo Bay Hall Committee, previously the Senior Citizens Club, for the use of their facility. This facility was built with federal grant for money raised by our community and money raised by our community. This fee represents 50% of our annual budget and is unsustainable. We weren't expecting this to happen because previously we've been had our fee waived because we've been seen as a community support organisation. What we were asking is that the council consider covering the $1,500 annual venue hire fee for the community support from the Community Support Fund due to the fact that Apollo Bay U3A is regarded as a community asset. I thank you for your time to consider our submission, and I'll leave a précis of what I've said for members if they wish that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, Peter. Are the others going to speak on the U3A? No. Okay, thank you. In that case, we'll go down to Mr. James Judd. Thank you. Someone give him a hand.
Is the Colac Otway Shire ever going to spend any money on upgrading the drainage systems in this shire so that Colac doesn't run the ever-present risk of being isolated from all road systems? It's happened multiple times since I've lived in Colac, that the railway line's been the only thing that above flood level.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Judd. It's a submissions meeting, so we're not providing answers today. It's not a question and answer.
And when are you going to see upgrading the non-capped charges every year faster than the inflation rate? Because you're running the risk of the Colac 2050 growth plan becoming the 2050 exit plan.
Thank you. Thanks for your submission. Do you have anything else, or you finished? Thanks, Mr. Judd. Now go on to Jan. Do you want to speak on behalf of the Friends of the Botanic Gardens? Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. A bit of background. Last year, when the council put up a recommendation and proceeded with it to review the master plan for the gardens, 270 community submissions were received when the draft was being prepared. After the draft went out for public consultation, more submissions were received on the draft. As a result of those submissions, the draft was amended very positively and then adopted by council in August. That draft became council policy in August last year. Now, implementing that has been probably the number one priority from the Friends of the Botanic Gardens since then, but we were quite disturbed to find that the conservation plan hadn't been funded in this cycle. The conservation plan is the basis for the continuing development of the gardens, and it really can't, there are a lot of things that can't continue until that happens. It's one of the sort of unsexy things that council officers and consultants have to do before you can get around to the fun part of actually doing new beds and doing new structures or whatever, because the conservation plan is a key building block that goes with it. By not funding it this year, basically what you're doing is delaying any implementation of serious botanical work on the gardens by 12 months. So basically we ask that you would perhaps reconsider it, especially in the light of the fact that one thing that did get funded for the year that's just about to finish hasn't gone ahead, and that's the replacement of the fountain, for various very good reasons, like nobody replied to the tender. So there's probably a bit of money that's sitting in there that could be put towards this purpose. So it's not perhaps the total amount that we'd be looking for within it. I'm not really sure of what, obviously you have to go out to tender for consultants to do this work. But it's something where we think 12 months delay at the moment is probably not the best way of doing it, especially as there's another draft plan coming up for the foreshore, and we would really like to be able to integrate the way that the foreshore plans in the future and the master plan for the gardens continue together. But I think that we need to get the building blocks in place, and that's really up to council to put into the budget. So it's up to you. We can either do it now or have another go in 12 months' time. But the delay is really not what we think is in the best interest of the community that's put in so much work and effort so far to support that very good plan that's there. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. That's all of our verbal submissions for the budget and fees and charges for 2025-26. There's an officer recommendation in the report. Councillors, does anyone wish to move that as the motion? Councillor Hudgell, is it to be seconded? Councillor Howard. Councillor Hudgell as the mover.
Thanks, Mayor. I would just like to say a huge thank you to everyone that has made a written submission and also taken their time to be here today. It's been super valuable, especially to a new council group, to be able to read these and hear from you today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Howard as a seconder.
Yeah, I support Councillor Hudgell's comments there, and again thank people who've travelled far and wide and the local people that have made time to verbalise their submissions. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other councillor? No? To thank everyone for their submissions, not just verbal here today, but also the written ones. You have a right to reply, Councillor Hodgell? No? We have a motion before us. Councillors will now put to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hodgell, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm is carried 5-0. Thank you. Now move on to item 5.2. Councillor Hudgell, you've got a conflict of interest. We've got your written submissions. Yeah, we've got your original written submissions there. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty, that first email. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, item 5.2, planning permit 480 Warowri Road, Illawarra, subdivision, excision of existing dwelling in a farming zone. With 3 people requested to speak to their submissions. Firstly, I'll invite Tracy up. Thank you.
Mr Mayor and committee members. My name is Tracy Simmons from my consultancy firm Par Planning. I formerly worked for Tompkinson, noted in the original submission. Council planning has been updated of these details. I continue to act on behalf of my client, Lachlan Dillard, a local third-generation farmer, and his family. The subject site is 480 Warrior Road, Illawarra, which forms part of their large-scale cattle farm holdings. I'm going to get straight to the point. This planning application seeks to exercise an existing dwelling into a small 2-hectare lot, in turn creating a 2-lot subdivision. Let me remind everyone, not one single person, including any farmer, including any referral authorities, including Agricultural Victoria, even the Colac Airport, owned by council, not one of them has objected to this proposal. We received no objections, even though it went to public notice. A granting of a planning permit is supported, I repeat, supported, by the farming zone as the permit trigger. Clause 35.073 farming zone for subdivision states a permit may be granted to create smaller lots if any of the following apply. The subdivision is to create a lot for an existing dwelling. The subdivision must be a 2-lot subdivision. Put simply, we comply without question, without any doubt. Our subject dwelling meets the definitions of a dwelling under the planning scheme. Not even council planning has questioned that. It has its own legal property access, has continual existing dwelling land use rights, as is required to be able to exercise, is fully habitable and with all services connected and with existing connected septic will remain within the proposed small dwelling lot. The other condition that applies to farming zone is not applicable to this application as it relates to vacant farming lots. Further noting, this council's own local policy incorporated into the planning scheme, clause 1401-1L, the protection of agricultural land, this policy also does not prohibit our proposal. Rather, it provides guidelines to best outcomes to consider when deciding. 1, whether any small lot containing a dwelling and associated infrastructure should be more than 2 hectares of area. We completely comply with that. We are proposing a 2-hectare lot. 2, providing setbacks around the existing dwelling from lot boundaries to limit likely impacts of adjacent agricultural activity. Setbacks to the remainder of the farm are sufficient due to the existing boundary fencing and dwelling infrastructure. The history of both the farm and the subject dwelling has shown no negative impacts and will remain as such. And this also implies to surrounding agricultural activities. 3, the use of an agreement under Section 173 Act to prevent further subdivision. We do not object to that. Our submission indicated that we do not oppose. As such, an agreement, however, we remind council that any further subdivision of either lot, small lot with a dwelling or the balanced lot of 99 hectares would require planning approval either by subdivision or any triggered development. Therefore, the planning restrictions already exist. The area is also fragmented by existing small dwelling lots, not only within close proximity, but also along Warrior Road. Similar front setbacks and lot sizes and layouts also show similarity. We are not reinventing the existing context of the character of this area, it already exists. Dillards are good people, hardworking farmers, active contributors to the community with a young family that only seek the best for the Shire, and like many farmers at the moment, drought is one of the many challenges and pressures they face. Unfortunately, running a farming zone planning application through this particular planning department is another stressful, at times perplexing process due to the great walls of no's we constantly get hit with, even when it's supported by their own planning scheme. The farm consists of a number of titled lots, all zone farming. The existing dwelling proposes only 2 hectares, already physically segregated from the large farm, and will have no bearing to the agricultural. And will have no impacts on the subject lot of 101 hectares. The remaining large farm lots, also under Lachlan's farm holdings, to the north 103 hectares and to the south 97 hectares, we are talking we are asking to exercise 0.6% of the farming land to support the dwelling. I repeat, only 0.6% of the land out of 300 and something adjoining hectares. There will be no impact to the existing or potential agriculture, either on-site or surrounding, as claimed by the Council Planning Department. How do we know this? Well, because the dwelling in the small garden has been there for the last 45 years. It hasn't impacted on the existing agriculture. Nothing's going to change other than it will be taken off we hope, off the farm and allow someone else the opportunity to purchase the land and enjoy it and cater for a family, possibly maybe even a key worker to live in the area and support the agriculture, not impact it. No one is trying to carve up the farm. There is no biosecurity buffers to meet. We are nowhere near a chicken farm or alike. Farming zone waterways and nearest dwelling under different ownership far exceed any preferred setbacks under the zone.
I'll have to start to wind you up. You've gone a minute over already.
Have
so
I?
if you
I
can
think
just
I
finish.
appreciate the extension. May I just finish the last paragraph? The only one issue is the Council Planning Department. And please, I fully understand the workings of the planning scheme. I deal with them all over Victoria, either on the applicant side of the fence, such as this, or as council under contract. The same applies to representing either in VCAT. We will take this application to VCAT if we need to. I hope that won't be necessary, as the planning scheme, your planning scheme, supports this proposal. And again, please read our full submission and report to get a well-rounded view of this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Tracy. Now invite Lachlan. Thank you.
Thank you. Illawarra, in particular Worawi Road, was the site of a soldier settlement subdivision in approximately 1950. In essence, a much larger estate was broken up into a number of smaller farms with houses, which created a substantial community. Over time, with technological advances, and in order to remain viable, farms have expanded in size. As such, a number of farmers, myself included, have bought and now own multiple blocks from the original subdivision. One aspect of this is that it has left many farmers having multiple houses. This has led to two distinct outcomes, which can be shown numerous times in the surrounding area. Option one, houses are excised from the farm, creating valuable housing stock for the community. Or option two, they are left to become derelict and an opportunity for our community is lost. I myself grew up in a house excised from the original farm it was built with, and having lived in Illawarra all my life, cannot think of one single issue that has arisen from an excised house owner and the neighbouring landowner. In fact, I would suggest it's quite the opposite, with community working together to look after each other. It must also be noted that people working within the rural zone need housing. Apart from the many large-scale farms needing workers, situated within a mere 5 kilometres from the site of our planning excision, multiple businesses such as the AKD Sawmill, Illawarra Bakery and Oztrees Plant Nursery all exist within the farming zone and require workers. Just to give you some site specifics, our farming enterprise takes place over a number of parcels of land, but it is all situated within approximately 6 kilometres along Worawi Road. In that distance of 6 kilometres, on adjoining neighbouring properties to which we run our business, there are 5 derelict houses. I'll repeat that. 6 kilometres for 5 derelict houses on adjoining neighbouring properties. That's 5 potential families lost to our community. Ironically, I was asked to give planning notice to the occupant of one of these derelict houses, despite outlining it as one of the exact examples in our application of what we wish to avoid. Having been directed to undergo a thorough mail of planning notice, which included 13 letters, we had no objections, from which one can only conclude that this application is certainly not seen to cause any detriment to anyone in the local area. Breaking this down simply, a decision to support this application shows council support for farmers. It shows council support for community, and it shows council is committed to retaining valuable housing stock in the midst of a national housing crisis. I look forward to common sense prevailing, and I invite any councillors with questions that they may have to feel free to direct them to myself or Tracy, as we would be only too happy to answer them. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thanks, Lockie. I now invite Jeff. Thank you.
I'm Jeff Shields, and I am speaking on behalf positively of this submission for this subdivision to take place. I am actually a neighbour of Locke's. His father and I were mates. But for a bit of background, and Lockie's touched a lot of what I was going to comment on, the Warawi estate was taken over by the soldier settler scheme actually in the late 50s, and in 1960-61 it was divided into approximately 24 properties, which at that time were considered to be viable. Somewhere from about 230 acres that stage to the largest one around about 600 acres. And that brought 24 families to the Illawarra region and created a community that wasn't there before, because there are just a few scattered farms and basically no community. And this created one. Now, as time went by, those soldier settlers got to the point of retiring during the 70s and 80s, and they both referred to houses being taken off farm lots to actually keep our community intact, even when people weren't farmers, but long-term permanent dwellers. A number of them are still there, just like the Dullard household. Lockie was born and bred there, and he's trying to build a future for his family by expanding and putting these three houses together, farms together I mean. There are two houses, one they're going to utilise, and the other one, the one that's under consideration, is redundant to their needs. The other farm in the three that they've put together, the house on that has already been divided off. Now, in terms of allowing this to happen and having the opportunity for a family to come into our district and community, and we need that because a number of us, including me, we're getting towards our use-by date. Now, the settlers came and went, and now the next, if you like, bank of people that came in and took over the land have come and went, and because the size farms are no longer viable that were originally, as I've said, conglomerates of land have been put together to make viable areas. And as has also been spoken, the taking off of this 2 hectares of country with a very nice soldier settlement 3-bedroom dwelling that has been well looked after, and I know quite a bit of money has actually been spent on it to keep it in good order. And some of the positives that will happen if this subdivision is allowed to take place and the family is able to come into the district. It's only 10 kilometres from Colac on good roads. The school bus passes the front gate. The sports ground and Illawarra Community Centre are just round the corner and have been subdivided off one of the original farms. Mention has been made of the airport. Mention has been made of the businesses and the possibility of employment. On top of that, we've got a fire brigade that's always looking for volunteers. And we've got a community that doesn't want to disappear back into the ether like it was pre-1960. So with the fire brigade, with businesses, and as Lockie said, businesses need people and communities need people as well. And as it's already been spoken, and I know, I've lived in the area, I know every property within that soldier settlement group. I've actually done contract work on every one of them at some stages in the last 45 years since I've been there. There will be no impact on agricultural production by taking off this little area, a couple of hectares. But if a family goes in there, think of the opportunities that are there. Opportunity to have a pony, opportunity to have room to kick the footy around, opportunity to have what's already there, a good veggie garden, to continue that. If they want to be self-employed, opportunity to build a shed to work with their self-employment. Lots of positives to allow this to go ahead. And then on the other side...
We're nearly running out of time, Jeff, but
I'll give you
there.
a little wee bit. Lockie's not a landlord. He doesn't need to have to look after excess houses. If tenants keep coming into houses, as he spoke, houses finish up becoming derelict and we lose our community, and we don't want to do that. So we see this as something positive to give a family an opportunity to come into a good community where there's plenty of opportunities and be one with the rest of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everyone. There's an officer recommendation in the report. Councillors, does anyone wish to move it? Councillor Potter, is it to be seconded? Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Potter?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to quickly thank the submissions for coming today and explaining the plan and the wishes and desires, and councillors will give that due consideration.
Thank you. Councillor McCrickard?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I concur with Councillor Potter. Thank you all and for your time and effort. Thank you.
Any other councillor? No. Right a reply? No. Thanks, everyone. We now have a motion before us put to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Shrems, carried 4-0. Thank you. We can get Zoe back. Thanks. Now move on to the next item. 5.3, 25 Whitecross Lane, Birregurra, use and development of the land for a dwelling. Now call on Dean Suckling. Thanks.
Good afternoon, councillors. And thanks for reviewing our application. My name is Dean Suckling. I'm an agricultural consultant and presenting for my clients, Robin and Paul, who are here this afternoon. I have to write it down. The pills they give me to stay alive make me forget everything, so I've got to read it out. I want to make sure their application is clear. The human details sometimes get lost in the system. Robin and Paul seek permission to construct and live in a single-storey, three-bedroom dwelling on an existing 1.6 hectare lot at 25 Whitecross Lane, Birregurra. The proposal parcel is already titled and adjoins their larger 47.8 hectare beef farming property and as I've just found out, the title actually exists from the 1800s. The beef farm and that house will be made available for sale if the planning permit is approved. They don't particularly want to move out of that house, but it is located deep into the farm and it would create a long and difficult title realignment, and they would end up living in the middle of someone else's farm. The train lines and the river bends make it difficult too, and that means it won't be joined to another farm easily. I'd ask you to have a look at Google Maps and see how difficult a subdivision would be for that farm. You'll also see the existing garden lots and the other old Birregurra township lots with houses nearby. They'll relocate their existing flower and garlic growing farm here. It's a good farm business. Most of the flowers go to their daughter, who is a florist, or are sold with the garlic at local markets. You may have seen Paul and Robin selling the flowers and garlic at markets around. As an aside, over 50% of all flowers and over 90% of garlic is already imported, and that percentage is increasing. The site itself is well suited to horticulture with good aspect and soil, and typical of horticulture will make about 20 times as much revenue per hectare as grazing. It's got a good big dam for water supply, and they'll build an equipment shed and a drying shed as well. The title came from realigning of the Birregurra Road when the old township was based here, and it left a legacy of messy titling down here. Sorry, can I just grab some water if that's all right? I'm running a bit dry. Sorry about that. Still don't enjoy doing this after all these years. The site itself, I read that, is well suited with a good aspect in soil, and typical of horticulture will make about 20 times as much revenue per acre as grazing. The title came about from the realigning of the Birregurra Road when the old township was based here, and it left a legacy of messy titling down here. The property adjoins a road reserve and an abandoned lot caused by the Birregurra Road realignment, and they have been mowing and controlling the weeds on those titles when really it should be council work. They assumed control when that area caught fire and became covered in gorse. The Drury's have been there for generations, and they don't want to leave their area. They are well-known, generous people and good contributors to their community. They are not developers or speculators trying to make a quick buck. They are farmers who want to wind back their cow farming and continue their horticulture on their own land. I'd like to clarify a misconception raised during this process that land size has something to do with the value of an application and potential agricultural merit. 40 hectares is a trigger for a planning permit in the farm zone in Colac, not a qualification of the merit of an application. Around the state, the minimum farm size varies from 2 hectares to 200 hectares. So it obviously isn't considered an assessment of a farming operation, just a bureaucratic trigger. For reference, VCAT via the Supreme Court approved a dwelling for a house on a similar size lot at Latrobe 3 weeks ago, also for horticulture. That ruling is Strawn versus Latrobe if you are interested. The planning scheme is there for good reasons, to prevent conflicts and issues by adjoining land uses, to ensure farmland isn't wasted or lost, and to ensure nobody drowns or their houses burn down. It's pretty simple really, and none of that will happen here. I'm up to about 500 of these undersized lots, and I'm constantly in awe of the different types of agriculture and wonderful and dynamic people who are trying to improve our industry. I wish Victoria would develop an agricultural plan, because these types of farms need to figure highly in the future of farming for the economic diversity, the quality they produce, the skills, the resilience and the local contribution. And yes, they will need houses. You can't farm to best capacity without living on your farm. Here an approval just seems fair. Paul and Robin have worked hard in farming and contributed a lot to their community. I'm sure you'll agree it's pretty hard to see a downside to this application. The overall agricultural production goes up, the Birregurra community retains contributing members, and someone gets to buy a great beef cattle farm. The application is fully acceptable under the planning scheme, and my clients have a farm plan that makes good agricultural use of an orphan site. They'll keep managing the property next door, saving the council and making it safe for the other farmers around. Local products will stay available to buy. Oh, sorry, my mouth's drying out again.
It's all right, you've nearly run out of time.
That's all right, I've got one sentence. Local products will stay available to buy, and farmers with a great track record get to keep producing those horticultural products. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your submission.
Thank you.
Thanks, councillors. We have an officer recommendation in the report. Does any council wish to move that? No. Yeah, Councillor McCrickard, seconded Councillor Howard. Councillor McCrickard is the mover.
Thank you, Mayor. No, just thank you to our last application before us today. Your submission, obviously you put a lot of work and time into it, and we thank you for your time and your effort and coming along here today. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Howard.
Yeah, again, there's lots of thank yous going on, but we, as councillors, we do appreciate someone verbalising their submission. It does add some weight to it, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other councillor? No, thank you again to everyone. Right reply, Mick. Good. We now have a motion before us, councillors. We'll now put it to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Haswell, Councillor McCriggar, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm's carried 5-0. That concludes our submissions committee meeting of the Colac Otway Shire. I declare this meeting closed at 3:52 p.m. Thank you, everyone.